Against this right back, Charlie's definitely.
There's always just that active red line defending. I think it's like. There's always just that active red line defending. I think it's like. There's always just that active red line defending. I think it's like.
People deluded, I'm back again.
Come on, Ian, bro. Come on.
Just as Ian Wright said there, people deluded, I'm back again. If you're on Twitter, Twitch, or YouTube, thank you very much for tuning back on. Make sure you're following on all the platforms. YouTube gang, do me a favor, please smash the like button. You would have noticed just before I obviously started talking, I dropped some links because I've brought out some videos. Obviously, we're watching the Milan derby later today, 10 minutes until kickoff in relation to that, so 7:50 p.m. UK time. Any thoughts, talking points, opinions, get into them. As you know, as the Premier League season is drawing to a close, we're now getting into in the know season. Every day there's going to be a new transfer story with Arsenal. The dream is free, the hustle is sold separately, and if nothing more provides a talking point for us, man, I'm sure many of you would like Declan Rice, Caicedo, Zubimendi, young Xavi Simons has been linked with us as well. If it's 170 million to just pay it, ain't our money. Why are Arsenal fans always turning into accountants? Beggars in brackets for squad depth, experience, and talent can't be choosers. Arsenal probably already signed. Big up Roger, because your comment was somewhere. Where is it? There it is. Big up DG in the chat, right back at you. It ain't our money. Pay up and keep it moving. It costs to be competitive, and the fan base aren't willing to wait on potential. You said it there. Again, I think we need to find balance. I think, if spending mad money was the key to things, then Lacazette would have scored the goals he needed to score. Ozil and Aubameyang with them contracts would have done stuff. Pepe would have been amazing, and not just Arsenal, elsewhere. So if you can find these unknown talents that can fix our midfield, our right back position, etc., and it costs you, I'm dreaming, but under 20 million, great. If you have to spend the money on established talent with the market now, also you have to find balance, really and truly. I think Arsenal fans, I do think they turn into accountants, but I do think Arsenal have to get comfortable with the fact that you do have to overpay. I don't think Liverpool wanted to spend the money they did on Van Dijk or Alisson from a business point of view, but look what it did for them. As long as we know how they're going to tie into the squad, gamble correctly, and again, we're going to have to spend money. Again, you look at half the talents that we want at this football club. They're linked with whole heap of clubs. They're going to come on big contracts. Obviously, the wage bill is going to dramatically rise if we keep getting into the Champions League, if we keep improving. New players at this club are going to come in for big money. Players that are doing what they're doing at this club are going to be rewarded with new contracts. We need to flush players out for several reasons, more so resources. Pepe's on decent money. Cedric, not that I'm pocket watching, but Pepe, Cedric, Maitland-Niles, Lokonga, Tavares. This is, even if they're not on 100-odd grand a week, it all adds up, and them resources could be put to elsewhere. As I said, players that can actually help us in terms of here already or elsewhere. Arsenal won't get any of the two. Can bet any money on Edu. Can bet any amount on that. Edu get both Rice and Caicedo. Be real. Again, I don't think we're going to get either. I don't think we're going to get both, but I'd love to be proven wrong. And for Arsenal, do what you can to get either target. But if you fail for whatever reason, make sure that there's an 8 and a 6 come the start of September, or start of the season, better yet, end of August, start of September. I'd also say right back, because Tomiyasu is not expected back until September, so he's going to be playing catch up. Obviously, he's a bit of a flight risk where injuries are concerned, and you've got the Asia Cup in January, so we're probably going to lose him for a month or two. You could see Benjamin White's had a good season, but in this last sort of furlough, much like all the players, his form has dipped, really and truly. You need to be able to freshen things up, really. So we need to do what we're doing, man. Marcel, I'm not reading the rest of that, but big up yourself. Hope you're good. We're overdue a big spend because we've neglected the need for quality upgrades for years, especially in midfield. I think we need to spend heavy in midfield. Like I said, if you could do it for cheap, great. But Zubimendi, release clause 50-odd million. Declan Rice contract running out, English tax. West Ham know everybody's got money. They're going to provoke a bidding war. The same goes for Brighton and Caicedo. If you want the player, pay what they're worth, keep it moving. If not, shop in another supermarket, innit, really and truly. Quality players cost money, so you have to spend it. And you're right in terms of midfield. I feel a bit wrong because we have been bringing midfielders in, but I think we're missing the trick. I keep saying it. I don't believe Arsenal in terms of game management, in terms of our attacking potential, in terms of our defensive potential. We're not going to go to the levels we can until we address midfield, really, whether that's Xhaka leaving or not. Personally, I'd like to upgrade on Granit and probably find a partner that can play instead of Partey and give him competition. But I do want to keep Granit at the squad. If he wants to leave, it is what it is. Keep it moving. What do you think of playing 3-2-4-1 like City next season with Caicedo and Rice as the pivot? Listen, if Arteta deems that's the thing, why not, man? What do you make of Ethan Nwaneri links to City? I couldn't begrudge him for wanting to go and potentially train with Pep Guardiola, be around a stronger competitive youth side, be around strong competitive youth players, learn what you can. And if you make it at City, great. If not, bust out, do what Sancho did and things like that. Would love would love Ethan to obviously stay at the club, but it is what it is. If he wants to leave, keep it moving. I think he's got potential to be an Arsenal first teamer, just like I think to a degree with Koza Dewberry and Miles Lewis-Skelly as well. Let them develop. Let's not gas them. But if you want to keep it moving, innit, really and truly. Not much to say in that regards. We have to invest and there's no way around it. There you have it. And shout out my YouTube members. We should have a limitless budget next season. From a business point of view, I don't think that's sensible, my guy. No excuses. After that game on Sunday, I'm still upset but proud of the progress this season. But I don't want to see some players again at Arsenal. Again, from what we used to be, 8th, 5th, we've dramatically improved. If we stop talking about the past and judge Arsenal for what it is, a team that wants to challenge for things, we're here. A title-winning side is up there. We're not only going to get there with certain other players and also coaching. I think people really underestimate coaching. We can sign a prime Cannavaro or prime Rio Ferdinand, whoever, and they will obviously show their quality, but they won't look as good as in other sides because we don't respect defending really and truly. So there's a lot that we need to do on the training ground in terms of, the tactically, game management, man management, defending. I also think for Arteta, and I would say for the players individually, they need to get themselves in check mentally. We need to cut the cord on Xhaka. He's important, but I think he's reaching his ceiling and he's holding us back from revamping our midfield. Xhaka needs to suffer the same fate, in my opinion, what Tini and Tomiyasu did, in the sense of you can be utilised, you've got a use, but you've gone from first names on the team sheet to squad players, really and truly. You can't keep them all, really. And to be fair, we're going to lose young players again and again. Like, this is the dynamics. Young players don't want to sit and wait around, rightly or wrongly. So it is what it is. In that regards, I think Arsenal have done all they can to convince Ethan, really. You've made your debut, you've trained with the first team, you've travelled with the first team. Evidently, there's more of a clearer pathway to Arsenal's first team than City's. But like I said, I couldn't begrudge him if he was to go to City, get paid handsomely, train and play with top quality young players to the sense of your average, because everybody's lit, be around great coaches, stay there until 17, 18, and then keep it moving, really and truly, man. Halen Demons, man. It is what it is, man. If they want to bust out. And I mean, Marcel, that's a dead attempt at trolling. As Arsenal get better as a football club, clearly there's going to be less opportunities for young players. As much as Arsenal fans and football fans want it all. They want all the young players to come through. They want consistency in terms of the lineup, but everybody to get minutes. This is the reality. City, they've brought through a couple of players. Foden's there. Cole Palmer's rubbing shoulders in the first team. Obviously, you got Leon Rico Lewis, but it's not that. Smith Rowe, Saka, to a degree, Joe Willock, Eddie Nketiah, Nelson, three of the players that were probably on the scene before Saka and Smith. Well, definitely before Saka, because Smith Rowe was in their boat. They benefited because Arsenal was a joke of a team for a second. Now we look a bit decent. There's going to be less chances. And I'm not criticising Arteta, but for all the young players that have trained with the first team and travelled, there hasn't been too many debuts. As I say, once you get to 16, 17, 18 and early 20s, you've got to be selfish. My football club, if I worked for Arsenal, I'd want them to tell you everything under the sun. Yeah, you're going to make it. You're going to play, boom, boom, boom. The minute you sign that deal, yeah, we'll try, but it doesn't mean anything. You've got to do what you need to do now. You need to cut the romance. You look at someone like Reece Nelson. Yeah, you've been a bit of a cult figure this season. You've got 1-2 minutes, but how many consistent starts? How many Premier League minutes? Even if you play amazing one week, are you going to play the other? Now, I'm not criticizing Arteta. I'm saying you need to be selfish. Is it the right or wrong decision to leave Arsenal and go somewhere where you can play on a regular basis? I don't know. I know it's harder. It's easier said than done. It is very hard, especially when you've been here for years and all of them things. And I won't quite say they're in their comfort zone, but get out your comfort zone. Smash the like button, YouTube ones. Sancho did his thing. Again, Sancho went to Germany, did what he needed to do. He's playing for England now. not really of late, but he's playing for England. He's at Man United. City kept it moving. It happens, really and truly. The better we get, the less young players are going to get opportunities. It is what it is. You're already fighting a losing battle as a young footballer trying to make it already, because again, the first thing the manager's got to do is get 3 points and protect his job. Rightly or wrongly, he's always going to bet on other players. You know, when you play young players, they're going to make mistakes. They're going to need to learn and things. You know, even Arsenal fans, you know, they haven't been quite nice to some of these young players that have been in and around the first team. 1 minute Martinelli's a star boy, then he's doing a madness. Saka the same, etc., etc. So you don't really have that, man. Hope you're doing good, Daniel, man. I think we need 2 good midfielders as well. DG, yes, DG, we have gone from 5th to 2nd, but what did you see from Arteta last year that has improved this year? Also, what has he failed to improve? Are you talking from him personally, or my opinions on him personally, or the squad? I think we have improved defensively. You know, we're still up there for clean sheets. And I think that, you know, and I'm quite amazed by that, because I think there's several gears we need to go up, if I'm honest with you. I think we've improved defensively. You know, football's decided in both boxes. I think we're defending a bit better. The standards that need to go up, as I said, need to go up several levels. But compared to what we used to be, defending a lot better, scoring a lot better. There's a lot better build-up play. I think players have a bit more ruggedness to them. Again, these things still need to improve. They're dramatically improved on what Arsenal needed to be. But a Premier League standard and the standard of a Premier League side that wants to challenge for honours is still not there. I think I've seen more stability in his lineup, because I do think he needs to find balance, because during his early tenure, he was very choppy changey with the lineup. Now we've played, there's a bit of stability there, but I still think that needs to improve. I'm not for rotation for rotation's sake. I think fans do too much. But once you start getting to the end of the year, the turn of the year, which would be January 2023, and you start getting into that February to May period, you need to be able to rotate. So I think he needs to learn that. I think his game management has improved, but it still can improve. I think there's been times where I look at Anfield away, I don't think taking off Jesus for Trossard was the right thing. I look at Brighton, you messed around with the midfield, the madness happened, even though there's other factors. Man United in September, you know, I think that one was a twofold, because if you remember in the game, he changed the midfield. We conceded about 20 seconds later. And also we're rocking up to Old Trafford, a ground that we struggle at, with Lokonga in the lone 6. You sign up for that when you don't do certain things in the market. I'm not really impressed with how he's navigated multiple comps. Yes, we needed to rest players for City, but that's because we didn't have the squad for the FA Cup. Europa League, I don't think he's managed the two-legged ties well enough. When you look at Olympiacos, when you look at Villarreal, obviously Sporting Lisbon, it should have never went to penalties, really and truly. So there's a lot of things I think Arteta has improved, to answer your question, but I still think there's a lot that he has to improve on. I think there's been a lot of times where he's made great substitutions, but I also feel there's times where you've needed to be a bit more proactive. I do think there's been many a times where he's outsmarted some of the best coaches in this league. But I also feel when he goes against some of them, when Pep Guardiola moved Bernardo Silva from left back, De Zerbi's tactics at the weekend, and a couple of other examples, I do think there's a bit of a spanner in the works, really. The best thing he can do for me is improve us defensively, and I say defense under the banner of game management, being street smart, etc. Look at Klopp and Liverpool. Klopp, when he first played, Liverpool from minute 0 to 90 were just flying forward. Obviously, that's not sustainable. The season before Van Dijk and Alisson came on, they started signing for them. They started to come a long way defensively and started to switch on a lot. Then obviously them lot enhanced it, really. Disagree on the FA Cup loss to City. There were 5 days either side and no resting was necessary. If we win that game, I think things go differently. Either way, yeah, I think we agree, because either way, for me, we should have done a lot better. I'm not gonna. You lost to City. It is what it is, really. But that's the sort of thing you sign up for, really. I didn't understand the changes. I know we had a game to think about, and our priorities were elsewhere, if you could say that, even though I don't agree with that. But that's the one thing for me with Arteta, is I need to know you can manage multiple competitions. And I think he trusts all of his squad, but at the same time, I don't, because you're only really going to see the Smith Rowe of this season, Reece Nelson, and then Nketiah, as if he's out of ideas. Let's be real. You know, Nelson was a hero against Bournemouth. We're out of ideas, essentially. Defense, to be honest, have been terrible. Arsenal conceded more than Chelsea, and their state is a bit pathetic at the back. And there obviously is a correlation with Saliba being injured. But again, if other people suffered key injuries to their centre halves, they wouldn't drop off that much. I just think Saliba's injuries, if anything, highlighted our lack of street smartness defensively. Big up Saliba, he's a great player. We miss him. But even when he was here, him off his own back and collectively, there were some bad habits. Even this season when it started, we were doing a bit better defensively and from set pieces. Way before Saliba got injured, you started to see them for this season, higher standards kind of go back to type, man. I'm not going to get at you for the Cat Yarrow Cup, 10 changes, back to Brighton team. But if you want to be harsh, yeah, there's that. For me, it's the Europa League mainly, and I think everybody at Arsenal Football Club, the gaffer, the players, they have to take responsibility for this last leg of the season. You know, Arteta came out a few weeks ago and said this is the most enjoyable part of the season, and I think mentally we've suffered. I think a big improvement we need to make is mentally. I think Southampton we looked shook before the minute one, and obviously the mistakes happened. City we looked defeated before a ball was even kicked. And many other examples, really. Yes, there's more resilience and there's a lot of good things. You know, there's a good foundation, but it's now about taking the things we need to improve and taking it to higher heights and obviously making the good great. Smash the like button. Why does everyone like this Caicedo PMP merchant? Outside of tackling, he has even worse flaws than Xhaka Cap. But fair enough. His failure to see Kyrgios was better than Holding and to play Holding 3 games in a row. I hear that, but at the same time, again, he signed up for these things. When there's injuries in defense, midfield, you sign up for these things. But again, I personally feel in them games, yes, Holding harms us in both aspects of playing out from the back, and Kyrgios does a lot better. And I agree, you know, you are looking at as Arsenal fan and thinking, boy, why didn't you play Kyrgios earlier? Maybe Kyrgios wasn't convincing in training, but you signed up for that. And to be honest with you, if we're 100% honest, in that Liverpool, West Ham, City, was it? Whatever that period was, let's be really honest. We had a lot better, you know, Holding played a lot better than a lot of us would have thought. Not that I'm saying he was amazing. And in them games, we had a lot on that pitch to do a lot better and win those games. So I think we're cutting excuses, really and truly, if I'm really honest. Purchasing 2 out of the 3 midfielders, Zubamendi, Declan Rice and Caicedo, long shot. Move on Lokonga and purchase Lavia. Also move on El Nene as we have Jorginho. They're 2 different players. I can't lie, I'd let El Nene run down this deal purely because you hang around like a spare part. And I can't lie, this second half of the season, I would have loved to have had Tomiyasu and El Nene fit, really. They're 2 different players, really. El Nene's got a better engine. Jorginho's better with a football and whatnot. Zubamendi, for me, in theory, surely is the easiest one to purchase. It's a release clause. Declan Rice, you know, you're fighting a lot of clubs. Every club, you know, every day you type in Declan Rice's name on Google. Arsenal, City, Man United, Bayern Munich, Paris Saint-Germain. Allegedly, Caicedo's going to get a lot of interest as well. It's a bit like the Mudryk thing. These guys are wanted by everyone. Put up the cash. And if you don't put up the cash, go and find these guys before they become relative household names. That's probably why it might be easier in theory, easier said than done to even get 1, let alone 2. But you bring in one of Caicedo and Rice, and then maybe you get Lavia, who I'm sure wants to play games, but he's probably more accepting of being a rotation option, at least initially, really. I still think we clearly need a plan B, man. As much as I like Zinchenko, if Zinchenko's not there, if our left back's not there and we can't create, something's wrong. And as much as I like Arteta's system, if your system cannot play to a suitable standard, if certain players are not there, whether it be Saliba, Zinchenko, Jesus, which is not really true, it's not really the foolproof system I'm giving it credit for, really and truly, if I'm completely honest with you. Tagged you in something on Twitter to back up your point in defense and Saliba. Let me see that. Again, people, I'll be real with you. People are capping with our defense with Saliba, you know. See, we still would have shipped these goals, and it's nothing to do with Saliba. It's because we don't respect the art of defending and necessary as a club. If Newcastle got some injuries and other teams like that, you would see a certain base, really. With us, if we're falling off a cliff again, for obvious reasons, it's not the same. But why were we able to cope with Jesus' injury for Nketiah and not necessarily defensively? Now, we know Eddie Nketiah is probably closer in ability to Jesus than Holding and Saliba. And we know we've clearly got better attacking options than defensively, collectively. But you get the point. Like, it's cap, man. I think the scouting department could be better. Sacking all the scouts was wrong move by Eddie for me. We've always got good moves. Scouted players like Nasri Arshiv and Saliba. I hear that. To be fair with you, I haven't seen what Carragher said, apart from what I spoke about yesterday, and I don't think he was wrong. I don't even think Gary Neville, apart from criticising celebrations, just being an absolute dickhead, is saying anything wrong as well, really. This is a man that was kissing Paul Scholes only to lose out on the title, you know, however many points behind when he's celebrating in front of Liverpool fans at Old Trafford when I believe Chelsea also won the league there, you know. shock horror football fans and footballers can't celebrate. You know, I don't think I can criticize my Arsenal players for a lot of things. I don't think there's a damn player connected to that club that at any time we won, especially them dramatic games, the Villas, the Bournemouths, to a degree, even Liverpool at home, Man United. I don't think there was anyone that sat there and said we've won the league. But Gary Neville's a media think piece. He's no different from Piers Morgan. You know, again, I think when Gary Neville talks on the level, he says a lot of things right, but he just wants to be seen and heard. And it's all about engagements. And until football fans, specific to this Arsenal fans, learn to ignore these dickheads, they're going to keep getting traction, engagement, results, bills are paid. Not that it's necessarily correlated to Gary Neville, really. I think a lot of Edu signings, when you add it all up, is rubbish, to be honest, with the money spent. DG, please name all the players you want out of the Arsenal squad. Out of it, I don't think. It's not even an out thing. Like, it's the obvious, really. I don't think we can move forward with Cedric. Ainsley's done. Nelson's not signing a new deal. If Xhaka and Tierney want to leave, I'd let them leave, even though I'd keep them in squad roles. Beyond the obvious, really and truly. Like, we evidently know the players that are not levels at this football club, really and truly. Eddie, Xhaka, Holding, El Nene, Lokonga, Pepe, Tavares, Runason. See, even I forgot Runason was here. Them kind of man need to bust out. Marie's dipped already. We've got 6 million in the transfer kitty. Balogun, who's now got 19 goals. If he wants to leave, fair enough. Let him go. Get decent money. Let's go and get a physical number 9 that is different to Balogun, Eddie, and Ketia and Jesus. Because again, check out the video I did yesterday, people. And I've got a video coming out at 2 p.m. We don't cross enough as a football club. And I don't want us to be a cross-centric side. But we're one of the lowest crossing out of the top 6. We're one of the lowest crossing sides in the league. Why? Because we haven't got a target man. And I actually feel if we had a target man, we'd defend a lot better. You saw against Brighton, they were going man for man. They're going man for man. They're forcing us long. Jesus doesn't have a snowball's chance in hell physically outmatching Lewis Dunk enough times over 90 minutes. I also think against Liverpool, when we went with Trossard up front, we struggled. If worse comes to worse, Van Dijk and Dunk, if we had these physical number 9s, they will foul them a couple of times. We can get further up the pitch. And defending, for what it's worth, if I haven't made it clear, it starts from the front, man. Again, there's many things. There's individual mistakes. There's following runners. There's the shape. There's switching off on transitions. There's conceding goals in crucial moments, towards the end of halves. There's psychological effects. People are dropping their heads. There's a lack of street smartness. There's several ingredients as part of that cocktail. And as I said, I feel compared to what we used to be in the last 2 years, we have come up so far defensively. We're not where we need to go. In my opinion, we're not where we need to go. And it's always the player that is missing that is the Messiah, really. And it's actually the signs were there. Not necessarily because we've dropped points against Liverpool and West Ham. They were there when we're battering Leicester at home, Leeds at home, Crystal Palace at home. We're conceding dumb goals. Brighton away, we packed them in. We're conceding unnecessary goals. Again, you're not gonna keep 38 clean sheets. Big up South London's finest for that. You lot can see that. Again, I've said it before. I said we're an improved defensive side. I don't think we're a good one. Statistically, I don't know where I'm at defensively, because I'm sure Man United fans want to see several improvements defensively, but De Gea is top. I would say, in my opinion, probably City and Newcastle are probably the best defensive sides from the eyes test. They're not top. So it depends, man. DG, if you was director of football, who one of each position would you get realistically? I don't know the realistic thing, if I'm honest, but Zubamendi would be here. Fresnadal would be here. Can't lie, it's probably not the answer, but we'd see what Dortmund are saying for Karim Adeyemi. Caicedo, Declan Rice, let's have a chat. Lavia, let's have a chat. Let's have a chat. Get on the phone to the agents. Let's have a chat, man. Can't judge Kyrgios on a handful of games. Yeah, you can. The jury's still out, but if you can praise him to high heavens against Chelsea and Newcastle and crucify the man against Sport, you can get onto him. Clearly, there's a good base in Kyrgios. But from what I've seen already, you're a bit too timid for me. I think you can improve. I still think he's suffering with a culture shock of the Premier League, because there was one of the goals against Brighton when I watched it again. It weren't necessarily his or Ben White's fault, but they're not proactive. They're switching off. One thing I would say for him is command. Again, you don't have to be shouting and bollocking everyone, but I don't like centre-backs that are not commanding. And I look at 2 of the goals that I've seen conceded when he's been on the pitch, for as good as he is, I think he's done. When whether he's fouled or not, play on, in it. Like, I don't think him coming from Italy, the university of defending at his old team, Spazia, I think if that goal against Brighton happens, then fans aren't going to let him leave the stadium. And I don't think he would do that there. Obviously, whether he's heard a call from Matt Turner against Sporting Lisbon or not, I don't know, but you need to deal with it. I do think he's a bit soft, but I like I like what I see from him in the squad depth sort of thing until I see anything more. It seems a bit timid, but you're relatively quick. You show you show balls on the ball. You know, pause. You stick to your task well. Again, Chelsea are rubbish this year, but you did well against Aubameyang. You coped very well against Newcastle. You know, you stood out because you fitted in, sort of thing. And again, needs to be a bit more rugged, man. Be a bit more rugged, be a bit more commanding, and let's see what you can do next year, innit? Really and truly, I would like someone, if not necessarily age, someone a lot more experienced, if I'm honest with you. Like, if you could go and get a street smart centre-back, right-sided centre-back that could be used in the squad. I'm not saying Lewis Dunk, even though I like him, but someone like Lewis Dunk, he's been around, he knows defending, he's been around the divisions, he's good with a ball at his feet, he clearly loves to defend, he's a physical powerhouse. If we had someone like that in the squad, I'm cool. Sell the useless, whoever that is. We do need to be ruthless. Some players need to cut, some first 11 players need to hold bench or cut. With the defense problem is the whole team from defense and midfield. People are blaming Zinni, but everybody, you know, our first attacker is Ramsdale, our first defender is Jesus, or who is ever up front. And also when to take the sting out of games as well. Again, it's more street smartness, if anything, really, what I find myself looking for. I don't have a clue on the centre backs, man. Big up my guy Zims Mueller, the second best football manager content creator out there. Make sure you're following him on Twitch and actually YouTube as well. Gabriel's the only one who wants to have it from our centre backs. Others are about passing. And again, yeah, Gabriel. For him, he just needs to cut out the bozo genes and the rashness. Really, I do think Saliba likes to defend. His thing is more calculated. Yeah, man. I listen, tying shoelaces and ducking and crying about VAR. I'm gonna keep rocking with Kiwior, but I don't like that. I want my centre backs that are madness. They'll take out their own mother before they'll want to concede. We need to want to keep a clean sheet as much as we want to do this fast Wenger Arteta ball stuff. And until we do that, we're not gonna go to where I really want us to. I really hope Kiwior has the same development as Vidic. He'll do well to be in the same realm as Vidic. I'm not gonna judge a man 4 or 5 months into what is probably a 4 or 5 year contract. You know, you've done a lot better than Holding, respectfully. But one thing I would say for Holding, I don't think he's going to go through the Sporting Lisbon stuff. And I don't think Holding is going to go down holding his lace or whatever in Brighton. And I'm not putting Kiwior against Holding. I'm just saying that's one thing you could learn from Holding. It should be over your dead body. We need a clinical striker like Kane. If only it was that easy, innit, really? If only it was that easy, man. But yeah, Kiwior would do well if there's ever a legitimate conversation to have with Vidic. He's got a long way to go. I don't think he'll ever reach that, but I'd love to be wrong. And with Kiwior, I'm not going to lie, you've played at a World Cup. You've got a couple times from Poland. You've been in Italy. I'm not blaming him because we were shambolic defensively, but I don't want to see that. What I've seen in them 2 examples I've given, I should be seeing from some young random 18-year-old kid who didn't even know he was going to make it at Arsenal. He's got to start in a big game. Take authority. Now, obviously, psychologically, he's still adapting to the culture of the club, the Premier League. I do think you'll see a lot more. I'm not saying he's going to be a great player, but he will show a lot more personality when he appears comfortable, really. And maybe these are the reasons or certain aspects of his game as to why Arteta was probably rightly or wrongly reluctant to blood him in sooner, really. We need ruthless leaders and players. We need headstrong players, man, because I keep hearing players' heads are dropping and things. Even when you're losing, there's a way to lose. Like when it got to 2-0 and man are saying heads are dropping, things get worse. Don't concede a third. And again, back to game management. We threw it away in the second half. 4, 5, 6, 7 minutes into the second half, conceding 2 goals in the dying embers. We've done these sort of things at times and won games and whatnot, and it's been great. I'll go back to Arsenal, Man United at the Emirates. I bet you any money Ten Hag and Arteta have briefed it. When the emotions were done, that is one game they're going to use as a reference for both teams to improve because both teams were doing stupidity. We need to pattern up those Saliba and Gabriel going Madrid if we're not careful. Boy, Vidic wouldn't do his shoelace and turn around. Kiwior ain't coming back from that. Sorry, man, he's weak. Look at his temperament coming out saying he was waiting for VAR. You don't even see that Sunday League. I hear that. DG, what do you think of Rice or Caicedo and Milinkovic-Savic? I feel like we need an elite European experience. I assume midfield in the Champions League. I like Milinkovic-Savic. I do think people look at him, pardon me, with rose tints. You did hear Arsenal tried to get him last year, so I don't know the credibility or the feasibility on it. But I just think it's a myth. I think the wages he's probably going to want, Lazio are probably going to want a decent fee. That one there is just going to be left, man. I think that's a paper talk one. Too many weak men in the squad. Trossard, another one, poor temperament, and he's weak. I don't think his temperament's weak. I just think he's not strong like that. It does happen, but respectfully, I don't care about other teams. I care about Arsenal Football Club. Like, you know, we've been perfect more often than not this season. But if we're talking about winning a league, you have to be perfect. Respectfully, you're right. It happens, you know. There's only been a couple of occasions this season where Arsenal fans have been disappointed, but I don't care. I don't want to know about what we do well. I can see what we do well. Praise us. It's what we need to do better. It's them fine margins. If we want to go to where Arsenal Football Club could be, or we're going to be in another scenario where you've got a half bit of potential, looks a bit rosy, and then we start stagnating again. You know, this is an opportunity to really push. I don't give a crap what other teams are doing. It's always going to be competitive. We don't know what the landscape is going to do. Let's just focus on us. Like, if you heard my review of the Brighton game, I wasn't actually referring a lot to what it means for title races and all of that jazz, just in terms of being competitive, you know. Games like this season, Brighton, Newcastle, historically the top six, they're a good test of your ability because there's fine margins that go against you. And I don't think we relished it. I don't think we've been, more importantly than not, I don't think we've enjoyed this period of this season. You've already confirmed Champions League. You're fighting for an added carrot. And I think, obviously, on the pitch, we've let ourselves down. Psychologically, we've psyched ourselves out. If Odegaard isn't captain, then it's got to be Gabriel for me. I shouldn't even know who's Arsenal captain. Everyone should be a captain. You look at the Man United sides, the Arsenal sides, probably big up Wes Morgan, Jamaican and that. Leicester, let's plug that. You know, City, Liverpool. Yeah, you can see the captain's band, but you look around it, or any Chelsea, any team that's won a league or any honours. Yeah, someone's got the captain's band, but you look at that 11, everyone's a leader. Everyone's a leader, really and truly. The title race was gone from Southampton, but you still have to take it to the end. I really did want 90 points, though, man. I'm happy with our points tally. I really did want 90 points because I couldn't tell you when Arsenal last done that. And it's all about building blocks and foundations for next season, in my opinion. The whole team mindset changed when Martinelli went off injured. I wouldn't quite say that, but I do think it was a pivotal moment. I personally think... how can I make it make sense? I think Trossard should have suffered the same fate Smith Rowe did against Bournemouth, which unfortunately I think Smith Rowe did a lot better. I thought Trossard should have been subbed. I think Saka's very fortunate to end the game as well, really. We need 11 captains. I should have known who's the captain. You look at the Invincibles, who's captain? You don't know. You had Madman Lauren. You had several players. A lot of players hide when it's crunch time, and the club at the time allows it by using PR such as phrase and projects. To be fair, I don't think Arsenal players have hidden generally this season. I think this last lap, I think Brighton players hid, City players hid, Liverpool second half players hid, and other examples towards this last end of the season. But generally this season, I think people have stood up to be counted. This is why I said at the start, I think mentally there needs to be, I don't know what you do. I'm not a psychiatrist, but something needs to be done because football is way more mental than anything. You know, again, you can have all the players with all the ability, all the tactics, all the fancy tracksuits, state of the art this, state of the art that. If you do not believe in what you're doing, if you don't believe, you cannot get anywhere. And that goes for life as well. And I don't think players have believed. There's been elements where we've snatched games from the jaws of defeat. But in this last little tail of the season, I think we've lacked belief. I don't think we've enjoyed ourselves. You know, it's a privilege to be fighting for a Premier League title. It's a privilege to, you know, see what Liverpool, United, Spurs, Chelsea are doing and Newcastle and all the fight for top four. And to a degree, because we're second by a healthy margin, it's irrelevant. You're in a very privileged position that you can't say you're in again or will be in again. Hopefully I'm wrong in that. And I didn't see players seizing that. God forbid. But if the world ends tomorrow, if your career ends tomorrow, you want to have no regrets. All I ask for in a game is that we have no regrets and we remain competitive. If we lose the game, we go back into the changing room and we deal with things. But we weren't competitive against Brighton. You know, the pain of discipline hurts, as I keep saying in every stream, but it hurts a lot less than regret. Why? Because you can actively learn discipline. Regret, you can't go back in time. And every player, even the manager, they're all gonna have regrets at this last lap of the season. And I don't think we've taken heed of the games in the first half of the season where we was conceding dumb goals in dumb scenarios, man. Appreciate you, my guy. Stream is going great, man. You lot are in top form, man. Arsenal season, as I wouldn't say a success. It's been a good season. I wouldn't say a success. It's underwhelming one, but it's one that we can have some pride in. We do the job in the summer and we're back next year. This team is going. Let the haters talk, bro. Let the haters, let the praise, whatever people are saying, let them. It don't matter. Just do what you need to do. Martinelli sets things up, makes Odegaard better. I mean, one thing I think Martinelli's got one of the best mentalities in the team, if I'm completely honest, because he's with it. Need leaders, man. But again, it doesn't matter how much of a leader you are. You're obviously only one man. It doesn't matter if the whole teammates singing from the same hymn sheet. It don't really matter, really and truly. So everybody needs to, do certain things. Xavi Simons, Rice Caicedo, Simican, Højlund, Diaby. What you say, dude? It would be a movie, but I can't see that all happening. Thoughts on Guerrero? Wanted him at Lorient. Not too keen on him now. Ivan Ndika could have been a good option. With him being a left-sided centre-back, probably the bolt's gone now with that. Us bringing in Kirill. Probably need a right-sided centre-back, to be fair with you, playing devil's advocate. Hindsight's a wonderful thing, and I'm not criticising the signing of Kirill, but it did make me think, could we have sat there in January and said, you know what, let's sign a right-sided centre-back? Football's harsh, bro. Football's harsh. Maybe I'm being a bit harsh. You're right, Wolves, but I think it could be a season of some sense of pride. It has ended in underwhelmingness, but there's not, at best now, this season just has to be one that we look back in a few years of foundation where we build upon. There's nothing in 10 years' time, man, I'm not going to care about this. There's nothing that's set in stone. There's no FA Cup. There's no Europa League. There's no Premier League. There's nothing that immortalizes these players, really and truly. And I'm not criticizing us, but yeah, we do need a bigger squad, or at least 15 to 18 to 19 players, kind of like City, that Arteta fully trusts. They can rotate in and there's not much of a drop-off. Saka needs competition, or make Jesus the competition for Saka buying a striker. I need it, man. I need it. I need a physical striker. Ivan Toney be perfect in this setup, or someone of that skill set, someone of the Giroud skill set, the Adebayor skill set, the Ivan Toney, someone. Again, if you bring in someone who's not that and they're better than what we have, great. But I think we're really missing the trick, not having someone that can throw their weight around as well as other things as our number 9, or as a number 9 within the squad. It is what it is. What do you think of Vlahovic? Not really as keen on him as I used to be, but if Arteta's still on him and they're listening to us, why not get it done, man, really? Big up the Twitch gang. We've got 60 likes. There's over 191 of you in here. Can we get 40 more likes? I'm patting that up, man. Balogun is chosen to play for USA. Where's that? Big up him. Probably the smart thing to do, really. You don't want to become a one-cap man. And to be honest with you, America are doing exciting things. You saw at the World Cup what they were on. They had a great future. You see what they've done for Yunus Musa as well. It makes sense, really and truly. Go and play for America, or somewhere you're going to play on a regular basis. You look at Eze, his form apparently is going to get him into the England squad. I like Eze. I think he's a very talented boy, but are you going to get called up for England again, or are you going to be a one-cap man? Go do your thing, man. And obviously there's marketability. I know Italian players don't like moving abroad, but would you take Tonali? I do think Tonali's a bit overrated. And what I mean by that is he's not that he's not a good player, but I don't think he's of the level that some people are saying. I think he has the capacity to be there. But if Tonali wanted to sign for Arsenal, he could sign tomorrow, man. Hey, DG, Arsenal team have always had a mentality issue when it comes to the final hurdle. No matter the players we get or the manager we have, some players still have this mental block. Why is that? I wish I knew, man. If I knew, I'd be trying to get a job at the Emirates right now and kind of get rid of that. But yeah, man. I mean, you have to expect teams to hit back. You have to expect teams to hit back. Everyone's going to want to improve their season last year. We have to want to improve ours. Whoever wants to sit still, it's their business. Duslan is getting aired. I hold grudges. Had me watching match highlights from Fiorentina just to air us disrespect. To be fair, if he always wanted Juventus, then you can't blame him, really and truly. I think Arsenal got too comfortable because we reached Champions League. That could be it, but that's where I want us to be fearless. If you've achieved your goal that you set in August, this is where you should be fearless, because the worst that can happen is ultimately where we find ourselves now, is that City are going to run away with the league. It would have been nice to push them closer. It would have been nice to have got more clean sheets across the course of the season. It would have been nice to have got 90 points, because when last did that happen? But we can look back with some sort of pride, but pride don't go anywhere. Balogun should have chose Nigeria. I mean, Nigeria, massive footballing country, obviously heritage as well. America doing good things on the sporting front. England, he's been through the youth system, so he had a decision to make, really. Only he would tell you why he did it. I'd love to have Patrick Vieira. Tell him to dust off his boots. Would you play Kirill as a CDM? I mean, if he can really do it, it's an option, but I don't think you look like you have the confidence in your own role first before we start making you do other things, and that's going to have a knock-on effect. At best, right now, from what I'm seeing, maybe if we're trying to see out a game, you can do that. But apart from that, I'm not too sure. Good season when it comes to achieving Champions League, but underwhelming as this is the best chance to win a title this season as Liverpool, Chelsea, United were off for most of the season. I hear that. We do need leadership qualities. Because that even shows me that you're not on the ball with the Prem. VAR has been poor all season. May have niced you at Newcastle, the handball, but don't forget what happened versus Brentford. There you have it, and several times, really and truly. Play to the whistle, man. I know these lot of professional footballers and technically have for a number of years now, but play to the whistle. Play to the whistle. Man say he didn't see the goal. That tells me you didn't. And if I'm being devil's advocate and being harsh, unfortunately, to Kyrgios, that tells me you didn't want to defend more than you wanted to be alive in that moment. You was too concerned with your boot. And it can't have hurt that much because you started sprinting. Literally, if you go watch the game again, the game restarts, you're there sprinting again. So it weren't that mad. Again, if it hurt, it hurt. If it's a foul, it's a foul. Personally, I think it is a foul, but it's a soft one. It's a foul, but you can play on, man. This ain't academy football. No one is going to save you but yourself. Arteta's done his thing, man. But it's just now going to that next level. Really and truly. So, yeah, man, keep your opinions coming. Don't forget to smash the like button, people. With that, keep your thoughts coming. Let's actually see what the news articles and all them things there are actually saying, people. So let's make a timestamp. Where do we start? Let's start with this, actually, because this was the first thing of the day from myself. Can you see the screen? You should now. Arsenal are ready to back Mikel Arteta by signing Declan Rice and Caicedo this summer, with the Gunners prepared to splurge more than 200 million as they look to build on their title challenge and strengthen for the Champions League. I don't doubt Arsenal's willingness to improve, and I'm not saying we're not going to get both, but I would say it's a tough order to probably even prize Declan Rice from West Ham, likewise with Brighton, even though De Zerbi has spoken of he'll probably leave. So it'll be a tough ask to get one, let alone both. There's a lot of competition. And I'm not saying we're not going to do this, but we've known for a number of weeks now that Arsenal are not winning the league. Now, the final nail in the coffin was probably the Brighton game, right? Coincidentally, 24 hours, 48 hours, we start hearing we're going to spend this, we're going to back that, we're going to do this. I'm not doubting it. I think we will do what we need to do in the transfer market to a degree. But I'm a bit pessimistic when it comes out now. It's a bit like if they were to announce Saka's official new contract. Now that it's a bit doom and gloom as a club. So I hope we can. We bidded for Caicedo in Jan. It didn't work. Arteta will now break the North London club spending record this summer. I mean, you are going to have to get close to that for the fees quoted for quite a few players. But for what it's worth, Arsenal are reportedly ready to back Mikel Arteta by signing Declan Rice and Caicedo this summer, with the Gunners prepared to splurge more than 200 million. And when you factor in new contracts and things, probably have to get rid of or make a 1-2 unpopular decisions and slash the wage bill, because it is going to have to start growing. With the title race against City all now, bro, let me skip to what actually matters, people. They're trying to hurt my feelings again. Mail Sport revealed in January that Rice has been made Arsenal's main target, with boss Mikel Arteta aiming to bolster the heart of their midfield. The England midfielder's contract expires in 2024, but West Ham can trigger a 1-year extension. Caicedo was the subject of intense speculation in January, with Brighton turning down multiple offers from Arsenal. Chelsea were also heavily linked. So we'll have to see, man. Really serious investment if true. It does feel a bit PR-y, as my man said there. We'll have to see. The Times are reporting that Mikel Arteta will now break the North London club spending record this summer, signing both Rice and Caicedo for a combined cost of 170 million. Quite the outlay. And as much as I think they'll both help us, devil's advocate, they're not experienced in the Champions League. They can help us because we've got some physicality in midfield, but they're not the most street smart players. Even though they're both regulars, played at the World Cup and things, I'm having it. But that probably means one of Xhaka or Partey has to go, really, even though I don't think it has to, but probably need to save wages. I don't think either one's going to be happy on the bench. Probably Xhaka, because his contract is running down. Mail Sport, and also the amount of times it's said in these articles that we're prepared to back Arteta, we're prepared to break our transfer record. You got to read between the lines sometimes. Mail Sport revealed West Ham are resigned to losing Rice this summer should they receive an acceptable offer, with the clause expected to strengthen their position in negotiations by saying his contract is valid until 2025. Rice has spoken openly about his ambitions to play in the Champions League, which would boost the Gunners' prospects of landing the star, having already qualified for next year's competition. David Moyes has been resolute that his captain will not be leaving the club for a cut price fee despite his contract situation. Moyes has previously stated Rice will only depart if one of his suitors is willing to break the British transfer record. Apparently, West Ham are reportedly hopeful the demand for Rice could see the fee reach as high as an eye-watering 130 million. Boy, Caicedo, meanwhile, admitted it was tough seeing the January move to Arsenal not come to light after Brighton obviously stood firm. Obviously, a bunch of clubs are monitoring him, including Arsenal, Chelsea, Liverpool, and United. Caicedo at the time made his desire, public to leave. De Zerbi has allegedly, said in the aftermath of a couple of their games now that he could leave, him and McAllister. In addition to Rice and Caicedo, Crystal Palace defender Mark Guehi and Bayern Leverkusen attacker Diaby are among the players on the Gunners' radar. A planned sale of a number of fringe players plus increased revenue from their qualification for the Champions League will help aid their plans for the summer rebuild. Bundesliga side Bayern Leverkusen are interested in Xhaka, and that could help facilitate a move for Diaby. It's understood initial contact between both clubs for the Switzerland international, who has played a key role for Arsenal this season, is taking place, but no final agreement is in place. And you got to remember, there's a Euros at the end of next season, so players are going to want to play football and be in their best potential form. Apparently, West Ham have put transfer talks on hold in a blow to Mikel Arteta. The season's not done. Their season isn't done. They've got more to play for. They could potentially reach a Conference League. So it doesn't really make sense for Declan Rice to really get drawn into transfer speculation. But for what it's worth, West Ham will delay talks over Declan Rice's future until after a possible European final, as Arsenal prepare to ramp up their pursuit of the midfielder. Once again, he's expected to leave. Arsenal are the favourites until people are holding shirts saying they used to watch Thierry Henry growing up. I don't know. Xavi Simons is a good player, man, with a lot of potential. I don't think he immediately makes our starting 11 midfield amazing or great, but he is someone that is quite a quality player. And we saw across the two games in the Europa League group stage this season what he's on, really. So, yeah, big him up, really and truly. Arsenal are keen to do their business early in the window, with Mikel Arteta looking to rebuild momentum after the club's title challenge pelted out in the final weeks of the campaign. It follows the success of last summer when all of Arsenal's signings, including major deals for Jesus and Zinchenko, were completed before August, which did help. They got in for pre-season early, people. Both West Ham and Rice are keen to focus on what could yet be an historic end to the club season before dealing with any transfer, though there has been a growing public acknowledgement in recent weeks that the 24-year-old is playing his final games in claret and blue. Again, this article has dropped it by 10 million and said 120. Arsenal are hopeful, or better yet, hoping to sign a deal for under 100 million, with Arteta needing to bolster other areas of his squad as he prepares for his side's return to the Champions League. With Brighton midfielder Caicedo still a target after a failed January move, he can also play a right back. Interest from rival clubs, including Man United, could create an obstacle, while the Hammers will point to the fee commanded by Jude Bellingham as a benchmark should Rice's England midfield partner be sold first by Dortmund, but he's not that sort of guy. Apparently, Arsenal provisionally agreed a deal with both West Ham and Declan Rice months ago. The upfront fee was way less than what is currently being quoted, while the wages are way below what is being quoted. Talks have been ongoing for months. I mean, talks can go as long as they want. I hope it is, but once again, until people are holding shirts, I don't know what's being done. Man said Mbappe, come on, be serious. Would love to be proven wrong. Chelsea are still interested, or specifically incoming Chelsea manager Pochettino is still interested in Declan Rice, who you hear he wants to stay in London. So I don't really care who is the favourites and who isn't in it until the player is signed, really. Apparently, Saka has been talking. Chris Wheatley has said to Declan Rice about joining Arsenal, and that shouldn't be groundbreaking news. That's going to happen, really and truly. They absolutely are. I think that Declan Rice is keen on joining Arsenal, and he's already spoken with his England teammate Saka about a move. He's asking questions about the club. I feel this is a move that Arsenal want to get done this summer, but they don't want to pay over the odds for Rice. And now I'm not saying anyone isn't in the know, but everybody's just going to be adding their own 2 cents and recycling the same old info, really. Bayern Leverkusen are still pushing to sign Granit Xhaka from Arsenal this summer, and their prospects of getting him allegedly are very good, according to Florian Plettenberg, who says Xabi Alonso is eyeing up the midfield. Well, to work under Xabi Alonso is amazing, people. Apparently, reports throughout last week indicated that Leverkusen were pushing to try and sign Xhaka this summer, and he could be tempted to make the move, with him ready to take on a new challenge away from London. This journalist confirms the latter point, stating that Xhaka wants to take another challenge after 7 years with the Gunners. At the moment, he's totally focused on Arsenal and seeing out the end of the season, but once the summer comes around, he's keen to move on, and Leverkusen want to sign him. I mean, anyone that doesn't want to be here, Xhaka, you've done your thing. You can leave on a high. Bye-bye then. And that goes for him, Tierney, anybody really. He's currently valued at around 15 million euros, and there have been no negotiations between Arsenal and Leverkusen as of yet, but suggestion is that they could be opened and concluded quickly, particularly with Xhaka open to a move. Leverkusen are certainly keen on taking him back to Germany, with Alonso seemingly considering him a key addition for his future plans. So we'll have to monitor these things closely, people. In addition to Declan Rice and Caicedo, allegedly Mikel Arteta wants to sign an attacking player and 2 defenders in an outlay that will be part funded by player sales, which could generate about 100 billion. Hopefully that's a right-sided centre-back and also a right-back. Might as well tell Tierney, forget that Newcastle stuff. Once again, Xhaka wants to take another challenge, allegedly. Now, until I hear it come out of his mouth, we don't know. Arsenal have cleared Mikel Arteta to break the club's spending record this summer, even though he has spent a decent amount, in a splurge that may exceed 200 million. Mikel Arteta wants to sign midfielders Declan Rice and Caicedo, who could cost a combined 170 million. West Ham want an initial 80 million up front plus add-ons for Rice, but Arsenal face competition from Newcastle and potentially Man United. Arsenal could renew interest in Rafinha and Moussa Diaby. They've also been linked with Mason Mount, people. So again, draw what conclusions you want. Let's keep it moving. Let's keep going, man. Big up you lot tuned in. Let me know your thoughts. Keep letting me know your thoughts, people. So that's that. Apparently Partey's future could be uncertain. Well, Chris Wheatley has said, well, we've spoken a lot about the midfield area. That's certainly an area Arsenal will want to strengthen. I think Partey has to stay, if I'm honest with you. The futures of Partey and Xhaka are a little bit uncertain. Xhaka has been strongly linked with a move back to Germany. Partey, his form has been under pressure in the last few weeks. I mean, he's been fit for 31 games so far. That's why Jorginho has come in. A few Arsenal fans have suggested Partey could be on his way out. I've not heard that line yet, but he's in his late 20s. I mean, with him being contracted until 2025, we've got to be a bit clever, and he is on his way out. But for next season, at least, myth. Arsenal need to let one midfielder go this summer. It could be Xhaka, it could be Partey. Fair enough. So essentially, guesswork. Xavi Simons apparently is of interest to Arsenal people, and he could be eyeing up a move to Arsenal. His agent has good contacts with Arsenal. Apparently, here City are monitoring him. I do think we've taken an admiration in him. I do think we probably like the player, but when you see he's changed agents, and his agents is brethren with Mikel Arteta or Mikel Arteta's clubs. Is it really want to sign him, or is it a bit of creative journalism? I don't know, people. He's having a great year, having a great season. Can play in centre mid, can actually play off the flanks as well. He's young, there's resale value, there's scope to grow, all of that jazz. His change of manager indicates that he is searching. Maybe he's thinking about Arsenal. His new agents have a lot of contacts there. I hope Ernest Stewart, in brackets, the technical director at PSV, can manage to keep Simmons here in Eindhoven. That should be priority number one for PSV. So steps need to be taken quickly. Draw of that what you want. Keeping it moving, people. Yuri Telemans will leave Leicester as a free agent. I wonder if we'll go for him again. Apparently, there are multiple proposals on the table, but Yuri is focused on the final games. Then he'll assess his options and decide his next club. Moving up, keeping it moving with that. What's this? Okay, you've done me dirty there. No worries. Can't remember what that was. We have been linked with Cancelo. I don't know if we'll ever go for him, but the current tendency is that Bayern Munich will not sign João Cancelo permanently. The Portuguese is too expensive and hence very unlikely to stay. Cancelo himself expects that he'll leave Bayern this summer. So we'll have to monitor these things closely. Is anybody having Mane? I know he's 31 years of age, but depending on the contract and the length, and if he, because of fighting with Sane, if he's not going to make it there, probably should be going back to Liverpool, Paris Saint-Germain or something, but I'll be lying if I said I wouldn't consider an 18-month contract for Mane, even though from a tactical point of view, he's not doing much. You lot have said Balogun has chosen to play for America. He's got 19 league goals in Liga. Hopefully he can get 20. He's become the joint highest English scorer in a single season in the Uber Eats League. We already knew, but apparently Arsenal to bank 6 million. Obviously, as Pablo Mari has now moved permanently to Monza as they stayed up. So that's his wages off the wage bill, and that's some money put towards the kitty. So we'll have to see. Balogun has chosen to represent America after rejecting the future of England. Allegedly, FIFA have confirmed that today, people. So big him up, really and truly. Keep doing your thing, Balogun. And sooner rather than later, we'll get his debut. Probably is going to be sold on. You lot know I'm a big fan of Zubimendi. Apparently, Man United are seduced and want to sign dazzling midfielder very close to joining Arsenal. Man United have reportedly been seduced by Real Sociedad midfielder Martin Zubimendi and could step up their interest in the Spaniard rival in Arsenal, who have been long-term admirers. The Gunners have had been described as very close to sealing his signature, but until pen has been put to paper on a potential deal, then the Red Devils could yet gazump Mikel Arteta's side. I mean, he's played down leaving Sociedad in the summer, but I'm all for it. I think he's a great player. And unlike Declan Rice and Caicedo, it's quite simple in theory. 52.5 million quid. You activate his release clause like with Partey, you get the player, and we keep it moving. For what it's worth, he did say, I have never planned to leave Real Sociedad. I've always said that. I've never even considered leaving. I love life here at home, and they could be in the champs next year. I'm very happy here. The values of this club are the same as mine, so I feel very good here. I've always said I'm happy. I'll keep saying it, but it seems that the media, don't pay attention to me. When asked in March, he said, rumors, rumors. I told my rep that I didn't want to listen to anything, much less in the winter. Leaving Sociedad behind with the season that we're having would be illogical. Here, I'm very happy. I'm expecting a calm summer beyond the release clause. When someone wants to be at club, the clause doesn't matter, which is true. But dynamics and variables can shift people. And obviously, we'll probably have to sell young Matt Smith in the academy as well. That could bring some fees as well. Bayern Munich and Paris Saint-Germain are interested in Odegaard. Yesterday, it was we're going to swap Ansu Fati. They want to swap money and Ansu Fati for Odegaard. So we'll have to see. We're preparing a £90 million offer for Declan Rice, as stated. We're keen on Mendy of Real Madrid. I mean, he's had a couple of injuries. The Sasha Boy of Galatasaray has been linked with us. He's a fullback. João Felix is interested in joining Arsenal on a loan. We've been linked with Mohamed Simikan of Leipzig, 23-year-old, able to play right back as well as centre half. He signed a new deal recently until 2027, so he's not going to be the cheapest. We've joined the race for Xhaka Partey, which I don't buy. Ramsdale and Saka, we've previously heard, are close to signing new deals. Several clubs are looking at Reece Nelson he apparently turned down a deal. Things are going full circle again. We've been linked with Ruben Neves once again. Xhaka has decided to leave Arsenal. Barcelona are willing to sell Rafinha. Juventus are joining a whole host of clubs in being linked with Ivan Fresneda. We're keen on Ferran Torres. Lol. So yeah, that seems to be that, people. As well, keep your comments coming. Later today, we're watching the Milan derby, the second leg of the Champions League. Smash the like button on that as well, people. Tomorrow, we're watching Manchester City against, obviously, Real Madrid in the second leg of that, I believe at 2 p.m. So actually now, so check this out. After I will go over this topic again nearer the next season, but I kind of just labeled what I wanted Arteta to kind of improve. Oh, it's 2 p.m., 5 p.m. I lied to you lot, people. So yeah, that's out. And I'm sure earlier this morning you would have seen this vid. So your DG fix is always there, man. Make sure you're taking in all of that good stuff. So yeah, let me make a timestamp on that. Latest news. And let me get back into what exactly you lot were saying, people. Challenging means doing something over and over again this year. Your first title push in over a decade. You barely make it to the top 10 richest clubs, and you ain't been in Champions League for time. So why do you think you can even chat to Mbappe? I didn't say nothing about Mbappe. You must be talking to the comments. United never scout their own players. Does anyone really scout anyone? Spoke on that. Take Cancelo and Gundogan from City. Cop Zaha as well. I'm not too sure. Players on the room. I'm not too sure about that. Zaha's out for the rest of the season now. Gundogan, we a joy for him to sign for us, but I think he goes to Spain. Cancelo, great player. The only problem is your discipline. If you can act up with Pep Guardiola and act up at a club like Bayern Munich, what the hell are you going to do under Mikel Arteta and at Arsenal? I'm not too sure. Bro, I'm scarred mentally. We need a 6-foot goal machine like Dusan Vlahovic. DG, can you do a second season review of the players who should have settled in now, or players who you're expecting more from next season? Again, when the season's done, you know you'll get that sort of content, man. Don't worry, man. Don't worry. They all know where the door is. Again, I can't begrudge players for wanting to leave. It's like a job, you know. Xhaka, I'm sure you're comfortable here. If you want to go in it. Really and truly. Whoever wants to leave. I don't think Richard Garlick and Edu are good enough in the recruitment area. Arteta is to blame here as well. I think he'll be gone by Christmas. I hope not. I hope we don't have a negative season. But yeah, man. Judging by last season, I didn't think we would make top 4. Boy, you either get sniped or you man up. Kirill, no in betweens, fine margin. Martinelli's so good. He's the only one I know 100% gets it at Arsenal. Takes guys out and draws man out. Gotta love it. I wouldn't change to a 4-4-2, especially while we've got this midfield. When we have decent midfielders or are able to play a proper in midfield, why not? I like Eze, but he's not going to improve stuff. He can grow and stuff, but he's away from my admiration for him as a talented player and him being a good footballer. It doesn't make much other sense than that to bring him into the carpet, if I'm completely honest with you. For what it's worth as well, people, again, every journalist is talking. David Ornstein has said Arsenal's interest in Declan Rice is well documented and they will have competition for him. They looked at it in January, similarly I can never say that word, with Caicedo, though they went further with that. I'm not sure they'll be able to do both financially, but clearly the interest is there. They want a creative midfielder as well. That's why the likes of Mason Mount have come onto the radar. At the back, they have to do something. Their defensive record at home in particular is the worst it's been since about 1984. That means there's going to need to be some reinforcements at centre-back, at right-back. Let's see what happens with Kieran Tierney too. And listen, if we let Tierney go and don't bring in a left-back, we're going to be in the same scenario where Tomiyasu can play there, which he's never fit, so it don't really mean much. Zinchenko, obviously, we've seen it with Benjamin. You're going to spend these guys out. So I have to see what they could raise through departures, perhaps 100 million. I hope we can raise 100 million because in theory, I think we can, but in theory, I think out because we're not even that good at hustlers. And what players are bringing in that? Clearly, there's an opportunity to trade, and a lot of eyes will be on Edu and what he's able to do. Arsenal are going to be tested, and the evidence so far, they've done pretty well. Also true. It's going to be a huge summer, and it looks like they're trying to move quickly to get stuff done sooner rather than later, as we should, man. As we should. So let's see exactly what is going to be done in that regards, people. But that seems to be all of the sort of news, views, opinions, all of that stuff for today, man. If we sign Rice and Caicedo for 170 million, we're being rinsed. We're gonna get zanged for both players. Realistically, we're getting bumped for both of them players. Let's be honest. Neither player are worth the fee at the moment in time. But unfortunately, this is the game now. Sell Partey and Xhaka, get Rice and Caicedo plus Gundogan. Zaha on a free. We need Prem experience. I hear it. What else have you got? DG, do you remember before the season started, after we signed Jesus, I said we'll finish second? Of course not. But if you said that, take your word for it. Where are we finishing next year? Covered that now. Scared about the Champions League group, but just glad we're there. Listen, obviously I want to go all the way like anyone could, but can we just get out of the group and not embarrass ourselves? Is what I would say. If we can do that, anything's possible. Let's baby steps. Baby steps. Baby steps. Absolute baby steps. Balogun should have chose Nigeria. For whatever reason, he's picked America now, isn't it? So he's going to have to do what he's doing. We'll win the league next season. Swear down, I hope so. All the Kroenkes ready to spend. Well, to be fair, I know the Kroenkes, and myself included, a lot of Arsenal fans haven't given them an easy ride. But in the last 2 years, they've provided funds. Any successes or failures on the football field, on the transfer market or whatever, it has been because of Edu and Arteta. The money's been there. The money was there to get Mudryk. For whatever reason, right or wrong, you didn't get it done. You were unable to bring in Douglas Luiz in the summer. You was unable to bring in Caicedo or a centre mid. Yes, big up Jorginho in Jan. It's you lot's fault. You lot are picking the squad. You knew you playing a dangerous game in certain areas. Like, the money's been there. Arteta has spent a decent amount of cash. Let's be real. With great power comes great responsibility. And if we're going to have another hefty summer, then again, you've got to do what you're doing this season and know better it. Really. But it all depends. There's a lot of red tape around it. Again, if you could sign if it takes 170 million to revamp our midfield, so be it. If you could do it for 20 million, if you've got these targets that are not known, so be it. I just want to see the right players. I just want to see the right players. Really, I stop spamming, man. You did. After the Rams won the Super Bowl, they focused on Arsenal more, but their full attention's on this club. Get rid of Fabio Vieira, bring in Maddison. I don't think we're going to bring in Maddison. Good player, though. Welcome at the Emirates. Would love Rice and Caicedo, but I think we'll be fortunate to get one. 9 more likes and we have 2 more likes and we have 100 people. What is going on? What is going on? And don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already. Is there any other Arsenal-related news? Not really. Big up Balogun. Hopefully we get decent money if he wants to go. Edu, get your hustle on, get decent money and a decent sell-on clause for Balogun. Let's reinvest that and keep it moving. Really and truly. Doesn't seem like there's anything. It's just primarily Xhaka and all this other stuff that we've gone over, people. But again, it's that time of the season where none of these players are going to come out and say, no, that rumor's true, that one's a lie. But we're getting to silly season, so we're going to have to see what's being said. There's going to be a lot of transfer news. I just hope we do what we need to do in the market, man. You tried to get Mudryk, rightly or wrongly, they moved away from that, but the money was there. So that's my only point. Any successes or failures in the transfer window have been because of Arteta and Edu. You can't sit there and say, oh, Kroenkes are giving you pennies. It's not true. It is not true. Does Balogun not fit into the team, or does he just not want to stay? Probably wants to just play a lot more, really and truly. And to be fair with you, if I want a more physical number 9, if we've got Jesus, if you've got Martinelli and Trossard as false 9s, there is a capacity for Balogun to stay and play, but you're not going to play that much, are you? Harry Kane wins us the league. We should try. Living in dream world, man. Living in dream world. Kudus would be lit. We was linked with him. That one there has gone away now. I don't know. It's probably the guys that were not being linked with are the ones we're going to run up and sign. 170 million sounds insane, but the transfer market has been ruined for a long time. It's not my money. If they want to splash the cash and believe it will improve the squad, go on. Yeah, you have it, really. It is what it is. You reckon Balogun's value drops now? We can't use the English tax. I mean, he's going to play for America, but you're still English. His value will only drop if next season, I don't know, let's just say he stayed at Reims for another year on loan to simplify the example. This year you got 19 goals, right? Let's just say this time next year you've got 9 goals. Because, you know, I hope Balogun bags goals, but this is his first standout season and he's still a young striker. I don't know if you go to another league or whatnot, if you're going to replicate this. I'd love us to sign Zubimendi. What I would say is, I'm not saying Balogun is going to suffer the same fate or be better or worse, but potentially we need to learn from the likes of Maitland-Niles and things like that. Is when these young players kind of got their stock hot, sometimes you might have to sell them and make some peas and keep it moving. Really, Kroenkes can do more. They only invest 100 million every 3 years into transfers, FFP rules. City owners are creating fake companies and giving sponsorship deals, inflating City revenue, play their game. I mean, let's be honest, and I agree, all these clubs are doing the dirty, man. But everyone's model is different. Bringing Ivan Toney is a wild card and has the anger. Arteta wants obedient players who are easy to manage. Every winning team has a wild card. I would take Xavi Simons at Arsenal. Kudus have to adapt to a more physical league in the Prem compared to the Eredivisie. You're not wrong. But every player is going to have to adapt. You know, Caicedo and Rice. You know, I would say in theory, Caicedo is more likely to adapt quicker to me at Arsenal than Declan Rice. Not to doubt Declan Rice's technical level, but Brighton and Arsenal are probably more closer aligned in how we play, evidently, than West Ham. You know, Brighton play on the front foot a lot of the time. West Ham don't always do that. So it'd be nice. It would be nice. It'd be lovely to have one of the two, if not both. But it's easier said than done. But whether it's Onana, Zubimendi, Lavia, Xavi Simons, Caicedo, Declan Rice, this guy, Joe Bloss, Jack the Lad, just make sure the midfield's addressed. Because I think ever since I've started my YouTube channel, we're about 8,000 vids deep. One love to you lot now. I think we started in 2016. I'm pretty sure every season, every summer, I've said I just want us to address centre mid. I'm pretty sure some of you have been on the journey with that. I think my YouTube channel actually correlates to when we dropped out of the Champions League. So we'll finally have exclusive Arsenal watch-alongs for the Champions League next year. I've waited so much. I mean, Jesus is a good squad player. He can play up front. He can do his thing out wide and whatnot, but we just need different options. We need a centre-back and a right-back. Centre-mid, centre-back, right-back, left-back if Tini wants to keep it moving. I think there's scope for another right winger and or a physical striker. I don't know if we're able to get everything done in one window, but the bulk of it needs to be done. And if nothing more, midfield must be addressed. So, do you think we need another centre-back with Ben White looking to stay at right-back? I think we need another right-back and centre-back. And then Tomiyasu, Benjamin White, this guy, that guy, you can do whatever you want. But I think we're under-prepared in defence, if I'm honest with you. Again, to Rob Holding, and I don't think he was as terrible as people made out. But you know what you're signing up for if Rob Holding, if there's mad injuries and guys like that have to be utilised. You know what you're signing up for. Guys like Rob Holding should be like Scott Carson and Pinto at Barca and City. Is that you're a good voice in the change rooms, you're a good lad, you're all of that. Stay being that. You can't help us on the football field to where we want to go, man. Me personally, anyways. But what do I know? Really and truly, that's it is what it is, man. Tini almost isn't back up left back there, that different. But that's the thing. That's where Arteta has to learn. You know, you've got different players. You can't keep asking Tini to do the inverted fullback thing. Go and find the build-up play, how we can build up play in a different way. With Rice and Caicedo, we shut down a lot of games we're leading, but they're still young. They're still young and naive in several aspects as well. What? Rice is 24. Rice is 24. Caicedo's 21. They have a lot of wealth of experience. Both players have played week in, week out. They've gone through a lot. Certain men have played at World Cups and that, but Champions League's a different ball game, really. I don't think we're signing Xavi Simons. I think this is an agent thing, really. Very different, but they're both playing left back. If we don't have it, but if we had Trent Alexander-Arnold at right back, I'm pretty sure no one's going to give a crap about Tini. Really. Can't just have one way of playing. I'm pretty sure the way Zinchenko, Walker, little, young Lewis, and all of them other guys that played fullback at City, there's obviously common denominators Pep Guardiola wants from his side, but not going to play the same way. We can't play the same way if you get a more physical number 9. It can't be a one-size-fits-all approach. Arteta and Kroenke are frauds, bit harsh. I don't think Arteta's a fraud. Bit harsh, but fair enough. Fair enough. Don't think that's nice. Come a fraud, harsh. you wouldn't think we're second in the title. You can criticize the man, say he has question marks about fraud. Fair enough, man. On that note, though, people, with that being said, we've been here for an hour and 10 minutes. I've got some life admin to do. So with that being said, I'm going to see you lot later. Don't forget, 7:50, we're going to be watching the Milan derby together. Tomorrow at the same time, this is all UK time, we're going to be watching Man City Real Madrid. Smash the like button and turn on your notifications for that. At 5 p.m, a little Arteta videos to come out as well. If it would send in this, what's going on? Can you lot see the links? So yeah, man, content and more content. And you would have seen a video dropped by myself earlier this morning. So yeah, you can see some extended thoughts, man. You lot smash the like button, subscribe, big up the Twitch gang. Stay blessed, stay safe. Appreciate you lot for giving up, your time for this hour and 11 minutes. Your talking points have been superb. Your questions, your differences of opinions. It's amazing to be here. So yeah, man, I'll see you lot when I see you lot, man. So yeah, on that note, stay safe, stay blessed. I'll see you in a bit, man.
There's always just that active red flag. Defenders, I think, is like.